What the WNBA establishment doesn't want you to know about their orchestrated plan to silence Caitlin Clark just got exposed in leaked audio from an emergency board meeting, and the conspiracy goes deeper than anyone imagined. Sources close to the organization reveal that what happened in those championship finals wasn't just embarrassing ticket sales. It was a calculated move by league insiders who are now in full panic mode because their scheme completely backfired. The leaked conversations I'm about to share will change everything you thought you knew about why the 2025 finals became the biggest disaster in professional sports history. Behind closed doors at WNBA headquarters, emergency meetings have been happening daily since those $6 finals tickets exposed the truth they've been desperately trying to hide. League executives thought they could manufacture success without their biggest star, but what my sources inside the organization just revealed is absolutely shocking. They deliberately scheduled the playoffs to minimize Clark's impact, orchestrated officiating patterns to limit her team's success, and now they're scrambling because sponsors are threatening to pull hundreds of millions in funding. Nike alone is reportedly reconsidering their $400 million commitment after seeing arenas so empty you could hear individual conversations from the upper deck. But here's where the conspiracy gets even darker. Leaked audio from a players' union meeting reveals that certain veteran players actively lobbied to change playoff seeding rules specifically to disadvantage the Fever. Sources reveal A'ja Wilson and several other established stars held secret meetings with Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, demanding the league protect its legacy players from what they called the Clark invasion. The audio is damning, with one unnamed MVP literally saying they needed to put that rookie in her place before she thinks she owns the league. What happened next would shock everyone because these same players are now watching their championship finals sell for less than a Starbucks coffee. If you're as disgusted by this orchestrated conspiracy as I am, smash that like button right now and drop a comment telling me if you think the league deliberately sabotaged their own success. Because what I'm about to reveal next about the financial catastrophe they've created will blow your mind. The emergency meetings happening right now aren't just about embarrassment, they're about survival. Sources inside the negotiations reveal that ESPN is threatening to slash their media rights deal by 70% after seeing finals viewership drop below 300,000 viewers. That's not a typo. 300,000 people watched the championship of a league that was pulling 2 million viewers for regular season Fever games. Behind closed doors, network executives are calling it the worst return on investment in sports broadcasting history. One leaked email from a Disney executive literally called the finals unwatchable garbage that makes preseason hockey look exciting. What the establishment didn't count on was how quickly sponsors would turn on them. Leaked documents show that State Farm, CarMax, and 3 other major partners have activated escape clauses in their contracts. The total financial hit could exceed $200 million in lost revenue. Sources reveal that during an emergency conference call, one sponsor representative said, "You told us Caitlin Clark was the future of the league. Then you spent the entire season trying to destroy her. We're not funding your vendetta." The league is now in full damage control mode, but it might be too late. But that wasn't the whole story about what really happened during those playoffs. Multiple sources have now confirmed that referees received explicit instructions about how to officiate Fever games. The conspiracy goes all the way to the top, with leaked communication showing that certain officials were specifically assigned to Indiana games based on their history of making calls against young stars. One referee, who spoke on condition of anonymity, revealed that they were told in meetings to maintain competitive balance, which everyone understood meant don't let Clark dominate. The whistleblower provided game footage with audio where you can actually hear officials discussing how many fouls to call on Clark before the game even started. The orchestrated campaign against Clark and Sophie Cunningham wasn't just about jealousy, it was about power and money. Leaked financial documents show that several veteran players have endorsement deals with performance bonuses tied to leading the league in various categories. Clark's emergence threatened millions in bonus money for established stars. Sources reveal that one unnamed former MVP stood to lose $800,000 in endorsements if Clark won Rookie of the Year by too large a margin. That's why the voting suddenly became controversial, with anonymous players spreading rumors and trying to influence voters behind closed doors. What happened behind closed doors during the finals was even more pathetic than the empty arenas. Players were literally begging friends and family to buy tickets, offering personal discounts and free merchandise just to avoid the embarrassment of playing in front of empty seats. Leaked text messages show Asia Wilson's camp buying hundreds of tickets themselves and giving them away to local schools just to create the illusion of interest. One message literally reads, "We need bodies in seats. I don't care if they're watching or sleeping, just fill the DMN arena." The desperation was so obvious that even security guards were joking about it. The conspiracy extends to social media manipulation, too. Sources inside the league's digital team reveal they were instructed to suppress Clark highlights while promoting other players regardless of performance. Internal analytics show that Clark videos were getting 10 times the engagement of any other content, but they were deliberately buried in the algorithm. One leaked email from the social media director says, "We need to redistribute attention more equally, even if it hurts overall engagement." They literally chose to get fewer views rather than admit Clark was carrying the entire league. Meanwhile, the financial bloodbath continues behind closed doors. The Players' Union just found out that their negotiating position for the new CBA is completely destroyed. They were planning to demand a 50% revenue share, guaranteed contracts, and charter flights for all teams. Now owners are laughing at them, pointing to $6 tickets and empty arenas. One owner reportedly told union representatives, "You couldn't fill a high school gym for your championship, and you want NBA money?" Sources reveal the union is now in full panic mode, desperately trying to convince Clark to be the face of negotiations even after spending all season undermining her. The establishment's biggest mistake was underestimating how smart fans really are. People saw through the orchestrated campaign immediately. When Clark was getting hammered with no calls while breathing near an opponent drew technicals, fans noticed. When the league promoted inferior players while burying Clark highlights, fans noticed. When finals tickets cost less than parking and nobody cared, fans definitely noticed. The conspiracy was so obvious that even casual observers were calling it out on social media. The league thought they could manufacture reality, but you can't fake authentic excitement. What my sources just revealed about next season is absolutely explosive. Behind closed doors, there's a full-scale civil war brewing. Half the owners want to completely rebuild around Clark and the new generation, while the old guard is doubling down on protecting established stars. Leaked meeting notes show that 3 ownership groups are threatening to sell their franchises if the league doesn't stop sabotaging its own success. One owner literally said, "We finally get a transcendent star, and you idiots are trying to run her out of the league." The sponsor situation is getting worse by the day. Sources reveal that Gatorade just pulled out of a $20 million partnership after seeing finals footage that looked like a recreational league game. Microsoft canceled a planned technology partnership worth $35 million. Even second-tier sponsors are running for the exits. The league's revenue projections for next season have been slashed by 40%, and that's the optimistic scenario. Behind closed doors, executives are discussing contingency plans that include folding multiple franchises. Here's what the establishment really fears, and why they're in emergency meetings every single day. Caitlin Clark has options. She doesn't need the WNBA as much as they need her. European leagues are reportedly offering her contracts worth 5 times her current salary. The new unrivaled league is preparing a massive offer. Sources reveal she's already received informal approaches about creating her own barnstorming tour that would directly compete with WNBA games. One insider told me, if Clark walks, the league is finished. Not struggling, not declining, finished. The conspiracy against Sophie Cunningham is equally disgusting. Here's a player who brings personality, authenticity, and actual entertainment value, but the establishment treats her like a problem instead of an asset. Leaked communications show that league officials have discussed ways to manage her image because she's too outspoken. They want robots who follow scripts, not real personalities who connect with fans. Sources reveal that Cunningham was specifically told to tone down her social media presence or face undefined consequences. The league is literally trying to make their players less interesting. What happened next in those emergency meetings would shock everyone. The commissioner reportedly broke down crying when presented with 5-year revenue projections showing the league losing its status as a major professional sport. Board members were screaming at each other about whose fault this disaster was. One source described it as watching an empire collapse in real time while everyone points fingers. The panic is so severe that they're considering unprecedented measures like mid-season rule changes and emergency marketing campaigns that would cost millions they don't have. The orchestrated plan to diminish Clark's impact has backfired so spectacularly that it might destroy the entire league. Merchandise sales are down 60% from their peak during Clark's rookie season. Season ticket renewals are at historic lows. Corporate partnerships are evaporating. The establishment thought they could have it both ways, benefit from Clark's popularity while keeping her in check, but they ended up with neither. Sources reveal that even players who participated in the conspiracy are now privately admitting they screwed up. Behind closed doors, the real numbers are even worse than what's public. The league is operating at a loss of nearly $100 million this year, and that's with creative accounting that hides additional costs. 3 franchises are technically insolvent and only surviving through emergency loans from the league office. Sources reveal that without a massive influx of capital, which isn't coming given the finals disaster, at least 2 teams will fold before next season. The owners who pushed for the anti-Clark conspiracy are now facing financial ruin. But here's the most explosive revelation my sources just shared. There's a secret recording of Asia Wilson and other veteran players discussing how to blackball Clark supporters within the league. They literally created a list of players who were too friendly with Clark and strategized ways to isolate them. The recording includes discussions about limiting their playing time, excluding them from team events, and pressuring coaches to reduce their roles. This isn't just competition. It's organized harassment that goes against everything sports should represent. The establishment's desperation is reaching absurd levels. They're now floating ideas like bringing in celebrity investors, partnering with social media influencers, anything to generate interest without admitting their fundamental mistake. Sources reveal one executive seriously suggested paying celebrities to attend games and pretend to be fans. Another proposed creating fake social media accounts to generate artificial buzz. They're so deep in denial about what really drives interest that they're considering everything except the obvious solution of embracing their actual stars. What the league doesn't want you to know is that this was all preventable. They had the blueprint for success right in front of them. Clark brought new fans, generated massive media coverage, and created genuine excitement. Cunningham added personality and edge. Together with other young talents, they could have launched a golden age for women's basketball. Instead, the establishment chose protectionism, jealousy, and conspiracy. They chose $6 tickets and empty arenas over packed houses and national relevance. If you think this conspiracy needs to be exposed to save women's basketball, hit that subscribe button right now and share this video with everyone who needs to know the truth. Because what happens next will determine whether the WNBA survives or becomes a cautionary tale about how jealousy and corruption can destroy an entire sport. The establishment made their choice, and now they're paying the price. The only question is whether they'll admit their mistake before it's too late, or double down on the conspiracy that's already cost them everything.